TYT Sports, Jeremy, Jason. Great, awesome, fun, super excited. NBA all-time starting five in a bracket. It's going to be great. So, how we did this. Context, very important. There is some all-time starting fives going around the interwebs, the Reddits, the Bleacher Reports, and we compiled all of them. We took 10. We took 10 all-time starting fives, so if your team is not there, tough shit. Don't need to explain why. Obviously, they weren't good enough to make our list, and it's really hard to argue. There's a few teams that maybe could have snuck in there. Can't wait to see the comments. Regardless, my Knicks aren't there, so if I'm not bitching, you're not bitching. Moving forward, Jeremy, let's get to the number one seed. Number one seed, Boston Celtics. A measly 17 NBA titles. What a goddamn squad, and it doesn't even include Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen, or Paul Pierce, and it could if we went to benches, but point guard Bob Cousy, shooting guard John Havlicek, small forward Larry Bird, power forward Kevin McHale, and center Bill Russell. Not bad.
Too bad. Not even including Eddie House in that. Bench player extraordinaire.
Bench player of the year. If they had a 7th man of the year award. We move forward. Number 2 seed is the Los Angeles Lakers, which Jeremy knows a thing or two about. Take me through it.
Yeah, you got talk about loaded squads. You got Magic at the 1, Kobe at the 2, Elgin Baylor at the 3, and then my favorite part here is that the 7'1" or 2 Kareem is playing the power forward, which would probably never work anywhere past 1993. Maybe even
That's very
earlier than that. And then you got Shaq at center, which I think, as we'll get to, is going to be the really deciding factor on this team.
The doubles. Point guard Derrick Rose. It's the 93 to 96 Bulls
with
Derrick Rose.
Yeah, plus Derrick Rose.
I thought you put Horace Grant at the 5, but I guess I put whoever made the list did power forward / center. They're doing the 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 lineup, which is okay. We're okay with that. We move forward. 6 NBA titles. I wish I had any of those. San Antonio Spurs, underdog. Never count out the Spurs. Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, George Gervin, Tim Duncan, and David Robinson.
The best part about this is that 3 of those players were there for all 5 titles.
That's very true. Chemistry. If chemistry has anything to do with this bracket.
Parker was only 4.
Only 4.
The point is,
correct. Admiral was there with Duncan.
Longevity is the point.
Good point. And Popovich is coaching that team, so that will go a long, long way. All forms of Phil Jackson. Basically, at what point of his hunchback he is for the Bulls and the Lakers, and if there was a Knicks team.
Seat pad.
He always looked like he had the most comfortable chair on the sideline.
Well, he needed to because he had no hips.
His hips don't lie. 5 seed, go. Golden State Warriors, point guard Steph Curry, Mitch Richmond.
Best name in NBA history.
Great name.
Yeah.
Chris Mullin, Nate Thurman, and Will Chamberlain. Next.
Fun fact, he was a Laker for like a season.
For 1?
Yeah.
6 seed, Miami Heat, 3 NBA titles, most recent 2013. I don't know why they started adding, I copied and pasted, just so you know. Tim Hardaway, Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, Chris Bosh, and Alonzo Mourning. That is not a bad team. Keep going. 7 seed. We're giving it to you all, baby. Detroit Pistons, the bad boys that just simply include Ben Wallace, which is kind of awesome because I would love to see the throwback in action. I really, really would. You're going to keep going. We're going to keep going. We got to keep going. 8 seed. Philadelphia 76ers. Also, watch out for this team. Dr. J, AI, Maurice Cheeks, one form of Barkley, and Moses Malone. They got Moses. And if it was Jesus Irving, they'd have all the apostles.
True. They have
great.
They have the original chosen one. How can they ever lose?
Houston Rockets are the 9 seed. This was not included, but Dan and Jeremy and I have all felt this is very important because how you can't include a team with Kenny the Jet Smith at the 1, James Harden at the 2, Clyde 3, Barkley 4, and Hakeem the Dream at the 5? What? Make that team. Number 10, the Orlando Magic. Point guard, Penny Hardaway. Shooting guard, Tracy McGrady. The small forward, Grant Hill, with how many knees?
He has 2 knees. He has 0 ankles.
Right. He has 1 knee,
maybe
and
one
half of an ankle.
The lump on the side of his ankle that used to be an ankle. The artist formerly.
What is that called? The ball of your ankle. It never existed in him. Dwight Howard at the 4 and Shaq at the 5. So some of the players cross over. We're allowed to do that because we do what we want. Now the fun part. Let's see the bracket. I know when you look at this, you're going to be like, how the hell did you seed these? It's for fun, guys. It's for debate. Let it be. Take it for as it is. Jeremy, who do you have making it through some of these matchups? What matchup stands out to you the most?
So it's important to note that we have the 2 byes going on. We have the Lakers and the Celtics.
Not even close. It had to be the byes. It's also important to note what I named this title in is the Tournament of Legendary Champions.
That's good.
I think it's a good name.
That's a very good
name.
name.
Not bad. It's a power name.
It's a power name. So if you're starting in the first round, so I guess you technically have what? You have 3 first-round matchups. The Warriors, Sixers, Bulls, Rockets, Heat, Pistons, and Spurs, Magic.
Yes, you have 4 matchups. Yeah, yes.
Looking at that, I mean, the Bulls, Rockets is great because a lot of those teams
played against each other.
Yeah, they actually played against each other. A lot of the best players on those teams were around in the mid-'90s, and they actually went head-to-head. All right, so we'll start with the Warriors and the Sixers. The Warriors, they have a pretty solid lineup. When you look to start Steph Curry, if you look at modern-day NBA, that's a name you recognize.
It's gonna help.
And then you have the Sixers, who were once a mecca of basketball, maybe no longer, or at least it's on hiatus for a bit. They're stacked. They got Julius Erving. They got Allen Iverson. They got Mo Cheeks.
Who do you take?
Who do I take?
By the way, this is a 7-game series because basketball
is
not played on a single elimination except for the March Madness tournament. But this is the Tournament of Legendary Champions.
I'm going to take the Sixers in that round.
I'm so happy you did because I did also. Moving forward, Chicago Bulls versus the Houston Rockets.
Well, the reason that the Rockets won 2 championships when they did is because a man named Michael Jordan was not playing in much capacity for those 2 seasons. So when you line him up on the court against said Rockets team does not advance. Chicago Bulls.
Bulls in 4.
There you go.
I don't know if it's Bulls in 4.
Might be Bulls in 5, considering that you got Hakeem being guarded by...
Yeah. I agree with that. I said Bulls in 4 way too quick, but I do like Jordan. Heat versus Pistons. This is interesting. This is the old school versus the elbow-throwing school. The bad boy Pistons. I mean, Joe Dumars, Isaiah Thomas, Ben Wallace.
Unfortunately, they're missing Bill Laimbeer. I would love to see LeBron drive into the paint against Bill Laimbeer, see what happens.
Be brutal.
You would definitely get hacked across the arm a couple times.
Right.
Well, I mean, this is great because you have a really classic NBA matchup in terms of like the Pistons, who they don't have really a top 5 player on that roster, but they're easily considered the bad boy Pistons, one of the best teams of all time.
They were like, according to the ELO ratings of 538, they were like the 5th best team.
Exactly, and then you have the 04 Pistons, who won a championship in an era when you needed a star player to win a championship, and they beat that star-studded Lakers team. It's a really interesting matchup, but at the end of the day, the Miami Heat does have LeBron James. You throw Alonzo Mourning in there, who's probably one of the most underrated centers in history. He had the heart problem that kind of cut his
He had
career.
a lot of problems.
He had a lot of, including, well, the heart is one to acknowledge, do you think?
Oh, of course. I mean, that was like the sympathetic one. All the other leg problems was just the, God,
Exactly.
You're just the Grant Hill
It's
effect.
hard for me to ever bet against LeBron James, even when you're playing a team as good as the Pistons. I'm picking the Heat. What about you?
Oh, Heat easily. And what's interesting, and then to save time here, the Spurs beat the Magic in 3 games because the Magic get beat. Like, they're just so bad over those games that they have to go home and never come back. Spurs
Grant Hill gets hurt in the first game, and then it just goes
Grant
down.
Hill it's like Sonny Liston versus Muhammad Ali, first round, first minute, first possession.
All right.
Out.
Moving forward.
We move forward. We're going to throw to my bracket. The Philadelphia 76ers upset, you can't count out the answer. He was the one thing in the way of the Lakers, an undefeated playoff run, and he is that good, transcendent of a point guard. I would take AI Sixers over Steph Curry's Warriors. I think the Sixers with Dr. J, just a better team.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is where it ends, though, for them.
Oh, immediately, because the Celtics truck them.
Yeah.
The Lakers beat the Heat, but that is a really good matchup because that is maybe the juiciest of them all.
You get the LeBron and the Kobe matchup. We never had in the finals, or we never had in any really playoff game of any real implications.
We were deprived of it. No, you can't just count out the Heat, but the Lakers and the Celtics are just too good.
I mean, every player on that starting lineup is a Hall of Famer.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Got to go from there.
Celtics Bulls and Lakers Spurs. I know you're taking the Lakers over the Spurs.
I am.
But I need to acknowledge the fact, and I'm going to get so much shit for this, and I get how good the Lakers starting 5 is, and I would argue for the Lakers, but the Spurs can never be counted out. Every time people tried to count them out, they won a freaking title. They play such unselfish basketball. I think that is one of the most dream what-if scenarios is the all-time Spurs. If you love basketball, the all-time Spurs versus the all-time Lakers is just the greatest thing that would ever exist. I want a 27-game series.
I would agree with you partially there, but so what made the Spurs great, especially in their early years, is the dynamic duo of David Robinson and Tim Duncan. But when you look at them against Shaquille O'Neal and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, probably the most terrifying duo of offensive big men ever, you really can't count them out. And then you throw in the best point guard of all time and the second best shooting guard of all time, and Elgin Baylor. And I see what you're saying, but it's unfortunately they run into a buzzsaw at this point. Yeah,
I think it would just be a neck-and-neck series. I think games would be really fun to watch. The Lakers are the better team. The Lakers probably win this whole bracket, right? But for the fun of it, for the controversy, have decided to go with Greg Popovich, and his response, he doesn't care. But I would take the Spurs in the finals, and then let's look at the. So I know Jeremy has the Lakers. Lakers
this is my favorite matchup. The next one, the Bulls.
Celtics and the Bulls.
Bulls, Celtics, absolutely.
Okay.
You can start.
So I have the Celtics winning that matchup, and I can't believe I'm counting out Michael Jordan, who I'll defend to the day I die as the greatest basketball player to ever play on this earth. But the Celtics team, that I'd make tweaks to it, to be honest, because I think it's weird that Kevin Garnett's not on that team. No form of new school. Kevin Garnett's good. Kevin Garnett's really good. Or Ray Allen, one of the greatest three-point shooters of all time. But that's like aside. You have the best trash talker in the history of the game. That's substance. There is substance there. And Bill Russell, who has won more titles than I can count on my hands, and definitely more than Jason Pierre-Paul can count on his hands, because he blew one of them off. Not his hand, but his pinky or his finger, doesn't matter. That's NFL related. But the Celtics take that series over the Bulls.
How many games?
Oh, all of these have to go 7.
I think this is the only. Oh, you think 7?
Yeah.
I was going to say maybe that's where we diverge. I also think 7.
Okay.
I mean, I think Jordan is going to single-handedly win 2 of those games, but the Celtics are the Celtics. I mean, they won 17 championships for a reason. I mean, granted, they won like 11 of those in somehow less than 10 years, if that's even possible.
Right. So there, I have Spurs versus Celtics. I have the Spurs winning this entire thing because they go through the Lakers and then they get through the Celtics. Again, just a team I can't count out. I'm curious how little fans there are of the Spurs that are going to come to my defense here, when everyone's going to look at this and go like, are you out of your damn mind?
Even Spurs fans would not come to your defense for this one.
I know. I can't count out.
I got nothing for you, Jason. That is...
You can call it the worst argument ever.
I wouldn't go that far, but it certainly cracks the top 10.
Okay. Jeremy?
I'm going we have Lakers, Celtics in my bracket.
Who wins?
You got to go Lakers. You got to go Lakers. I can argue, I can hash this point out for a while. I'm not going to. But, I mean, if you just look at the matchups across the board, obviously it's close. Honestly, I think Shaq was the determinant factor for maybe why the Lakers got so far so handily the way they did. That stops when he's up against Bill Russell. But, I mean, outside of that, you still got Kareem, Baylor, Kobe, and Magic left. And I know you have Bird, who's one of the greatest players of all time, but that lineup is stacked.
That's where I would do. So I would, like, what's interesting is the Lakers versus Celtics finals matchup. I would love to go to the benches for those, which you don't have time for. But in general, that's such a fun argument. That would be the only one for the Tournament of Legendary Champions. I still love that name.
Eddie House and Lamar Odom.
Like Eddie House, Lamar Odom. I mean, Ray Allen, Kevin Garnett. Again, Paul Pierce. Even Rondo could fit in there somewhere. Like, I mean, the Celtics teams go way back. But real quick, Antoine Walker, shimmy shake. Not making that team. We have to wrap up. We're getting kicked out of the studio. What do you guys think, and girls, what do you girls think is the greatest starting 5 of all time? Did we leave anybody out? Probably, but tough shit. I said that earlier. Don't forget to subscribe. We want to see all the comments there. I'm willing to take it all, and I'll debate you that the Spurs will win. Jeremy will even chime in with some stuff on the Lakers. Who do you got? Lakers, Celtics, Spurs, Bulls. It's got to be one of those 4. At Jeremy R327, at Jason Ruben 91, at TYT Sports. Don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe.